Kicking with Dani Luv, healing one day at a time. Settle down, you'll be fine. Happy Monday! Welcome to episode 10 of Love and Laugh with Dani Luv. The name of this episode is titled The Silent Battle, Men's Mental Health, PTSD, and a Mother's Grief. I'm very excited about this episode because I do have a special guest. This episode is one of those serious ones. So I'm going to try to start off with a little bit of funny before we start getting into some seriousness. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the trends lately, but Dr. quote unquote quotation, Dr. Brian, she claims to be a doctor, and I had did this.
Now y'all leave Dr. Brian alone. It can happen to anybody. I forgot to tell y'all that I got a doctorate in midgetology. Some of y'all know that I'm 4'7", and so I went to school and got a doctorate in midgetology at the MAGA School for Midgets Association Gang America School. And so I get it. So what happened was the doctorate degree, I did my dissertation and everything, but the doctorate degree is like too high for me to reach it. So I have yet to find a person tall enough to get it off of the top shelf in the university, the Midget Association Gang America University. Yeah, don't believe me, whatever. I know my worth. I know I got my doctorate in midgetology, just like she got her doctorate. I closed my eyes and I clicked my heels twice, and I was in the land of Oz, and then it transferred me to the Midget Association Gang of University, and they put my degree at the top shelf, and I can't reach it. So I don't care who believes me or not.
Yes, and I don't believe me, but yeah. It's crazy because it takes so much to go to school to get degrees. I have a master's, and that's the farthest I've went because it is so hard to obtain those degrees. I was thinking about going back to school for my master's in mental health, but I don't know. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So yeah, I just hope that made you guys laugh. I wanted to start off with a little bit of funny before we start, because we're gonna be talking about men's suicide. So if you're watching this, you also know that that I tell everybody about the tool of box breathing. So if you want to do this with me, then let's do it. We're going to do the 4 counts. Breathe in 4. Hold it for 4. Let it go for 4. Let's try it one more time. Breathe in 4. Hold it for 4. Let it go for 4. And that's what I do. Every time I have to do something scary and or anytime I have to calm myself down, then yeah, I don't know what doctor. Someone has their name as doctor. But yeah, I usually do that to calm myself down whenever I feel anxious or going through something. Um so I did look up some stats in psychology today regarding men's suicide. According to Dr. Bryant, a real doctor, according to Dr. Bryant, he says, "Oh, Dr. Bryant, psychology. He has a doctorate of psychology." John Rucker, men, according to these two people, men face an inordinate difficulty seeking and assessing mental health care. In the US alone, 6 million men are affected by depression each year, with some dying by suicide at a rate of 4 times higher than men. In fact, men's rates of suicide are greater than women across all ages and most of the lifespans. And yet, an official diagnosis of depression in men is half that of women. Some contend this does not suggest the absence of depression in men, but rather that men are less likely to be present for care, thus less likely to receive a diagnosis. Men's depression represents differently, such as with greater anger, they have alcohol misuse, risk taking, tiredness, irritability, and claiming to be on autopilot. In addition, men appear 2.5 times more likely to die of alcohol related causes than women. Men are also 2 to 3 times more likely to misuse drugs than women. So, I found 4 reasons why men usually struggle to ask for help when it concerns mental health issues. But I wanted to bring a friend, my new friend. I met her in Texas to discuss this stuff with me. So I'm really excited about this wonderful lady.
Yeah. So yeah, I come from Oklahoma. We're like one of the lowest states for voter turnout. But a little basketball team wins a championship, and all of a sudden, 500,000 people show up for a parade on a Tuesday.
That's so funny to me. It's facts. I love comedy that is facts. This lady had me cracking up in Texas. So without further ado, Oklahoma City based, she is a former engineer turned stand-up comedian and improviser who finds the humor in retirement, life transitions, and surviving the unexpected twist of adulthood. She blends sharp observations, quick wit, and real life experiences to make audiences laugh while reflecting on life's tougher moments. She's performed at the Film Comedy Fest in San Antonio, Texas, the Clean Comedy Challenge in Las Vegas, the Clean Comedy Fest in San Antonio, and the Middle of Nowhere Festival in Midland. So, without further ado, which I don't know what ado is, but put your hands together for my new friend, Connie Lee.
Hey, Danny, how are you?
Oh, good. How are
Good
you
to
doing?
see you.
Yes, it is good to see you too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
peaceful over there.
yeah. That in the middle of nowhere festival was in Midland, Texas,
Oh, Midland,
and
Texas. Okay.
oh yeah, definitely not a lot to see around there, but it was a good festival. So I had a good time.
It sounds like fun. I thought it was in Midland, Michigan, because we do have a Midland,
Uh-huh.
Michigan, and I've never been there because it's in the middle of nowhere. So I thought, I'm
What
like,
is that with putting all the Midlands in the middle of nowhere? I don't
yes, 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 yes.
understand.
I'm so happy that you are here. You had me cracking up at the Film Comedy Fest in San Antonio, Texas. That was one of my favorite festivals.
Hmm.
I just finished the Detroit Women of Comedy Festival this weekend. I was in 3 shows there. So you know how when you leave a festival you feel so hyped. So now I'm kind of like the Detroit Women of Comedy Fest is a little bit over it, but that's only because I just did it. But when I left Texas, I was like, wow, them women are so funny, especially you, Connie Lee. You are a great host and a
Thank
great
you.
headliner.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm glad you're here, and I want to ask you a question that I ask every guest that's on here, starting today.
Okay.
I always forget to ask. Might be the second time I've asked this question. What role has comedy played in your life during difficult times?
So, there have been a number of things since. So I guess we'll back up a little bit. My son Damien
Mhm,
uh, was served in the Iraq War, and he came home damaged with a diagnosis of PTSD. I suspect he had a traumatic brain injury, which was not something that they diagnosed for back in 2009.
mhm,
So he hung on for a couple of years, and then in 2013, he died by suicide. And so a lot of my grief work I attribute to an organization called TAPS, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. They help those of us with military loss, and they have such great programs that really saved me and
mhm.
helped me. But um, I got into improv in 2019,
Okay.
and that was, each class was 2 hours long, and for those 2 hours, I experienced this, just kind of release. Like I didn't think about anything, for those 2 hours except for what we were doing, with our play partners and stuff,
Mhm,
and it really helped me to know how to clear my mind and stuff. And then I started stand up a couple of years ago, and
mhm,
it's a lot of fun. It's different from improv. There's nobody on stage that's got my back besides the microphone. So,
mhm. Yep, that's it.
but yeah, it's helped me a lot. When I've been down to, get on stage and hear people laughing at things that I'm saying is just, well, you probably know too. I mean, it's just such a great energy to know that people trust us to help them to lose their weight of the days.
I love that. And it's amazing how it seems like a lot of comedians who are actually funny go through so much and then
Mm-hmm.
they end up finding comedy and then we end up helping other people. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
thank you for sharing that with us. I'm praying that that story can help someone else who is going through. I'm grateful that you found the program TAPS because sometimes people don't find that resource to help them get through the things that they need to get through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that got me started comedy was I went through so much, and the main thing was when I went through a miscarriage, and I ended up learning about comedy. It was just a class. I didn't expect to become a comedian, and I did, and it helped me to heal through some things, and I'm grateful for that because now here we are making people laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I just love it on improv. It's the same thing. I still do improv. I'm in two troops, and
Mm.
every time that we do something silly or I do something weird and people laugh, I mean, it's just like, it's like, oh, okay, we're relaxing now. We're gonna have a good time. So yeah,
Yes. And I
yeah.
can tell that you do improv because you're very funny at stand up. I thought you were doing comedy longer than 2 years because you're very quick and like I said, you did really good at headlining. Most people don't headline in 2 years. Like I've headlined with my husband because we do comedy together, but
Mm-hmm.
myself, I've only headlined once,
Mm.
and it was by mistake. I did 30 minutes by mistake, and it was at our show, and it was
Yeah.
like kept going, and it was like, oh, this is me finding myself, but
Yeah. Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
comedy for 4 years, and I haven't gotten to that point yet. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be funny when I headline. I don't want to just be out there talking and
Yeah.
or looking at me like, what is she talking about?
Well, I worked in engineering, like you mentioned, for 40 years, mostly male,
Okay.
and I, was always trying to lighten the load. I worked, around a lot of men who got really serious and really down into,
Mhm.
work, and it was like all I had to do was kind of make a satirical crack and stuff. So I've been at this for. I can't. It counts. It
You
counts, right?
you've been doing comedy at work, and then you just decided to get on the stage and share it with
Yeah.
us. But this is something that you've been out here doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am grateful for you sharing your gift and showing us that it's never too late to just be who you want to be, because
Yeah.
some people feel like it's too late. Long as you got breath in your body,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Do what you
Yeah.
want, do what you always wanted to do. Don't let that stop you, because we only get one life, and
Right.
that's it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it. So if I forgot to do something when I was in my 20s, I'm about to figure it out now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Didn't do it
Yeah.
in my
Well.
30s, figure it out in my 40s. If I didn't figure it out in my 40s, 50, 60, I'm moving on up,
Yeah.
because long
Yeah.
as it gives me breath in my body, there's a chance.
Yeah, yeah. And, things come in its own time, right? So, had I tried this, I was, a single parent raising kids and,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those things. Plus my job was kind of demanding and travel and things like that. And, respect to people that have young kids and are working full time
Mm-hmm.
that managed to do the stand up and the improv, because I just couldn't have seen me doing it because it wasn't my time. This is my time now.
This is your
So,
time, Connie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's amazing when you can be very wise when it concerns knowing when it is exactly your time to do a
hmm,
certain thing. There's a time for everything. I don't know if you a Christian, but I'm a Christian, and there's a Bible verse that says there's a season for everything. There's a time for
yeah,
life, there's a time for death, there's a time for happiness, sadness,
hmm,
and
hmm,
I've had those times. Like I used to work a job making really good money for 12 years, and when I started comedy, I was still working there, and it was fun. I don't know how I did it, because I would go to work still and get done with comedy, because I just started comedy. So when you first start, I would get done at 3 o'clock in the morning, be coming into work, doing my job, and then
hmm,
go home or go work out, go take a nap, and then do it all over again. Go be in the comedy club all night, go to work. And I don't know how people do it with kids too.
yeah,
And now
yeah,
I'm unemployed.
yeah,
And I don't even be out late like that. Like, what are we doing?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, each his own. But now is my time, because I would have stayed at that job. My brother unfortunately lost his life, and if he was still here, I'd have still been at that job. But I
yeah.
ended up going through depression for 2 years, crying every day, and I just
Hmm.
didn't work no more. And
Yeah.
here I am doing this podcast to heal.
Well, we have to be kind to ourselves,
Mhm,
and give ourselves grace and mercy, and not. That was one thing that I lost a couple of friends because after my son died, they didn't understand that I couldn't call them to make plans. I don't know why, I just couldn't, and they didn't understand that. And then there was the one that, um, thought that I uh, should have been over it, by now. Why aren't you over it? And it's like that's not how grief works, and so it's a journey. It's a
you learn to better handle it and stuff. And of course, you get a lot of um, the initial grief junk, out of you in the first, couple of years or whatever it takes, so yeah.
It's usually the people that have hardly been through anything that says,
Hmm.
"Get over it." Like you haven't broke a nail, you ain't lost a mama, a daddy, a sister,
Hmm.
brother, or nothing, and
Yeah. Yeah.
a kid, nothing, and you're like, "Get over it."
Yeah, and
I,
the advantage is, I say this to, I'm glad that I've had trauma in my life because I mentioned being a single parent. I was a single parent when my ex-husband walked out, and I had a 4-month-old baby, and I had a not quite 3-year-old, and um, so that was the first, major hit that I took, but it did provide me some preparation, kind of, for when my son died. So, in kind of an odd way. But yeah, I've seen people that later in life have something happen, like a grandchild dies or something like that, and
mm,
they just, it's like the first time they've had trauma. So I'm not telling people to go out and find trauma,
mm,
but but definitely it does give you a little bit of a leg up to be able to handle it. So.
it does, and is the people that haven't experienced it like that. Like I said, there's seasons where everyone. I don't wish any of the stuff I've been through or anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't experienced it, then it's best to just be empathetic and
Mm-hmm.
give your friend, if you're a real friend, give your
Mm-hmm.
friend grace and know that this person is a human being and they don't have the capacity to deal with your crap right now. Like they may
Mm-hmm.
be the person who you use to call on for everything and they're always encouraging you, but now it may be your time to
Mm-hmm.
encourage them because I mean that same thing happened to me. I lost a lot of friends when my brother transition
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And at first I was feeling like, dang, where is everybody? But I had to realize that some people don't have the capacity to deal with the trauma that I was going through. And I don't mean
Mm-hmm.
they're not my friend anymore. It just means they just don't have the capacity. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the capacity to deal with them. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you sit in the corner and cry and mind my business.
There's a Dr. Kenneth Doka that I met through TAPS, and he categorizes our friends into 3 different categories. One that there's the ones that just want to get you out and
Mhm.
take you to a movie or something, but they don't want to hear about what's going on. And then there's the listeners, and those are the people that are okay with hearing your gripes of the day and stuff. And then the other one is a helper, that wants to just help you do things. And if you recognize that, then you can treat each one accordingly. But of course, you live and learn.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at first, but yeah.
I've been through so much trauma. I think some things I learned at a very early age. I learned that category thing, I think in my 20s because
Mm-hmm.
I I would get so hurt like why is this person not here or why
Mm-hmm.
it was just calling me every day and now that I went through this, they're not calling me. Now that my mom is gone, they're not calling me. Like what is happening? And I had to realize like God was telling me like some people you just got to put in a category. And
Mm-hmm.
it ended so much trauma and sadness for me because I can look at a person and say, I know what type of friend you are. I know what type of person you are. You may call me friend, but I don't call you friend. But we'll associate. So you're the person
Mm-hmm.
that I'll go to the movies every now and then with. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell
Mm-hmm.
you anything important. Like you don't get that part of me. And it's good
Mm-hmm.
because you are a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I would that helped me out a lot.
Yeah. 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 And we need all kinds of people in our lives anyway. So
Yes, we do. Now my
yeah.
husband, he is commenting. He said, yeah, it's never too late. Breath in my body, I'm good. Be kind to yourself.
All
dreams.
good things.
Hard but necessary truth. Yeah, some don't have the capacity. They don't have it.
Yeah.
Um, I did look up 4 reasons why a guy may not seek out help and may end up unaliving themselves. One
Hmm.
reason was they have dominant masculine ideas, often involving stoicism, independence, strength, and control. Like, I'm a man. I can't
Yeah.
kill help. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I've experienced that. I'm a I'm a help seeker. So when I got divorced, my mother actually found a divorce recovery class for me to go to.
Nice.
And then along the way, raising the kids by myself and that kind of thing, I needed therapy, so I got used to asking for help, for therapy. Back then, I didn't really tell anybody, but that's part of the stigma, right? And then when Damien died, he died October 14th, and December, I was trying to find an organization like TAPS, and they were very hard to find. But once I found them, I felt home, and I also, supplemented their help with local therapy and stuff too. But others in my immediate family have chosen not to get help, and
Mhm.
it has caused all kinds of problems throughout the years and stuff. And it all stems back to, they don't get help. And like my Damien's dad, I was trying to convince him and my surviving son to go to a TAPS event with me.
Mhm.
And he said, I'm in a really good place right now. And I just wanted to like hit him on the shoulder so he moved and then said, okay, you're in a different place now. How do you feel? I mean,
Right.
because it is such a stigma out there, especially for men. Because
Mhm.
even when I went through the divorce recovery class, there were a couple of guys that started out and then they dropped out, and so it is, they're still being raised, I guess, with this, be a man and,
Mhm.
be tough and you're the provider and all of that crap, that we really need to get past, and people would feel so much better if they had a party to help them process the grief and stuff. So,
Yeah, we go to doctors whenever we break our arm or something like that.
mm-hmm,
Why can't we go
mm-hmm.
to doctors whenever our brain is broken?
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I really struggle to understand is, mental health is like, well, they have to want it. And I'm like, well, if I, keel over from a heart attack, they're not gonna, well, do you want help? I mean, you don't even get a choice, right? Someone's called 911 and they've got the pads on you and all this stuff, and it's like, wait a minute,
They
and
mentally take
for
it. Yeah.
mental health, they don't do that. It's like, well, they have to want it. And it's like, well, let's force feed them a little bit and see what happens. And,
It's
I'm no specialist. I'm just a survivor,
yeah.
that lived. And,
Mhm.
but it just seems so weird. So, yeah.
It is. You're an expert survivor though, and it's crazy because you made me think about when a person is on their last leg, like when they're in hospice, and the
Mm-hmm.
nurse come in because I've lost so many people, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
How this goes, the
Same.
nurse
Yeah.
come in and be like, "So is this do not resuscitate or is this resuscitate?" Like that's the only time you get to have a choice
Yeah.
when you're dying.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, do I want to die mentally?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
Well,
mean,
I think it certainly impacts your quality of life, because now you're dodging around things, so uh,
mhm,
so anybody that says they're okay, you know
I mean, they're not even willing to admit it that they have bad days and things like that. And so, with his dad, I see, poor diet, and I see, health issues, and he's 2 years younger than me, so,
Oh.
people look at him and they think he's older than me, so I kind of enjoy that, but
God,
but
gets
it hurts me. Yeah, it hurts me for my other son that to see his dad, you know, slowly
yeah.
going down and stuff. So,
No, I completely understand that. It's very difficult to be like, I need help, even for women. And so I
mm-hmm,
can imagine as a guy
mm-hmm,
feeling that way. My husband, I'm very proud of him because I knew that he needed to talk to a therapist. And I mentioned it. And he was like, no, I'm straight. And I was like, oh, okay. And then later on, he was like, I'm about to go call a therapist. And I was like, okay.
yeah,
And I'm like proud of that because dudes don't do that. He
yeah,
could have been walking around like, I'm okay. Like, you're not.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. And I think people value their, most people value their health now. They want to get healthy, and that's not just losing the pounds. That's not just, being able to do a 5K or, whatever your goals are physically. It's, also, you know, wanting to have a clear mind to be able to then open up doors to
mm-hmm,
living. A lot of this grief processing, um, that allows me to have freedom up here to
mm-hmm.
do writing and to be creative and all of those things and have fun. I would do anything to have my son here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But him having died, it changed my life, and I've picked the positive ways to survive.
I'm
So
so proud of you, Connie, because
thank
you are a
you.
survivor. The things that you've been through, most people would have just said, oh
Well,
my.
and that happens. I know of a couple of parents who did die by suicide within a year of their own
Mm,
child dying, and I mean, I won't kid you. There are dark times. I hit some really rock bottom stuff, and I was given the tools like mindfulness and things to try to get that. I mean, literally, I was really dark, and I contacted a couple of friends, and they were busy, and I couldn't tell them how bad I was. It just kind of freezes you. And I remembered my mindfulness that I had learned, and I went outside, took a walk through the neighborhood, and did the 5 4 3 2 1 thing, and I felt better. I pulled out of it. So
And that's what they mean when they say you have to really want it because you went and did it. Like you could have stayed in the house and not tried or anything like that. And you
hmm
do have those moments like when my brother transitioned because he was like a brother, but he was also like my child to me too. He lived with me for 13 years
oh
and I cried every day for 2 years
mm-hmm.
straight, all day long. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think it was possible. I didn't
Yeah,
think I was gonna get out of it. I thought this was it. I said, "We
yeah,
ain't this is it." And,
yeah.
eventually I mean, I was going to therapy, it wasn't helping, and,
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting a different therapist because my first therapist, she retired or whatever. That's why I got a joke about my therapist quit on me because she really did. And,
Mm-hmm.
my new therapist, she's an EMDR therapist, and I was
Mm-hmm.
crying with her every day. And
Yeah.
then finally, I got to a point where I stopped crying and I said, "You know what? I have to make a decision because I cannot stay in the bed. Like, God gave me so many gifts, and
Mm-hmm.
it'd be wrong for me to just squander them." And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started this,
Mm-hmm.
page, and I'm like, "Wow, it's been 10
Mm-hmm.
episodes." I started it so I can keep going and
Yeah.
so I can encourage other people to go. But that first episode, girl, if you want to go back and look at these episodes, that first,
Mm-hmm.
I was crying the whole time on the
Hey, if it hits you, no judgment, just and it's cleansing, right? I
Mm-hmm.
do want to say Damien was married and had children when he died, and so that was a lot of my inspiration was to be there for his kids because he asked me to watch over the kids, and that's been something that I've had at the forefront of my survival, I guess you could say, is that I did have those three little rugrats to
Oh,
to keep with and to be in their lives and stuff. So
how
yeah.
old are your grandchildren?
Well, now they're 17, almost 16, and 13. And
Wow.
then I've got my other son has a grandson that is 11. So yeah.
Oh, look at you. You got reason. It's all about
Hmm.
finding your why for living, and you
Hmm.
have a whole
Hmm.
bunch of whys to keep going.
Yes. Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. They said, okay, so this study has said the second reason why men don't seek out help is because of poor mental health knowledge, which can manifest as difficulty communicating or recognizing a need for psychological help. Like they can have an issue and not even know it. Like your son said, "Oh, I'm okay." But if he sat in front of a therapist, the therapist may be like, I don't
Yeah.
know."
So we had challenges when he came back. He told me he said I've been diagnosed with PTSD, and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "I don't know." And that was kind of the end of it. This was 2009. People didn't talk about that, um, and so we just went along. And
PTSD
uh,
is serious. I have
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, and I'm sure that I've got some of it too. I mean, it's trauma, right? So, but yeah, I think being informed, unfortunately, until people don't pay attention too much to this stuff until they're
Mhm,
impacted by it, right? So
mhm,
it should be something that's talked about in schools, and I think they're doing better, with it. My grandson's school has a buddy bench, and that's for when
mm.
people are, kids are feeling kind of alone, they go and sit on the buddy bench, and then if other kids see somebody there, they're supposed to go, they're told go and sit with the kid, and
That.
talk to him and stuff. Yeah, it's a great program.
Anything
So
wrong,
I
buddy?
think, yeah, I think a lot of that is been really good, and as the kids now are growing up, uh,
Mhm,
they're learning more about their own mental health and who to talk to and when to get help and things like that. So
I
we
love.
just have a big gap of people you
Mhm,
know that
mhm,
that are struggling, and I think it's good when celebrities are open about their own mental health. There's been several
mhm,
athletes that are like A-level athletes that have said, "Whoa, I'm taking a breather.
mhm.
My
Good.
mental health is struggling. I have to stop."
And people
And
have given them hard times too. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm
yeah,
choosing myself. Like,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
okay. It
yeah,
is okay.
yeah. They're people just like you and me, and so yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm glad they had that buddy thing, and I'm glad that kids are learning about mental health at an early age because when I was in school, that was not something that we studied like that, and
mm-mm.
people called you crazy if you went to a therapist. They'd be like, "Oh,
Well,
you."
we weren't allowed to have a bad day.
Yeah,
If you had a bad day, you went to the
yeah,
principal's office and
yep,
called your mom. So
yep, yep. No, this episode is actually I did play a little bit of comedy earlier, but we also talk about serious issues as well because we like people to know that they're not alone and that they can get through it because we got through it. We're going over the 4 reasons why men usually do not seek help whenever they feel suicide ideation. First reason was dominant masculine ideas, often feeling like, you got to be strong. I'm supposed to be strong. The second one is poor mental health knowledge, which can manifest as difficulty communicating, like you don't even know that you're crazy when you're crazy. um
Mm-hmm.
the third one is society and the self stigma, which can cause shame and being seen as weak, and the discomfort with emotional disclosure and problem minimization. So when you say I'm okay, which I think that's two and three kind of go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that the people that are around you are important too.
Mhm,
To, if they see you struggling, it's, take the initiative to do what needs to be done.
mhm.
When the National Suicide Hotline was around, well, it's still around.
988. I called them.
Well, it was a big old long 800 number, but now
I
it's
started
988.
988 now because I'd have been messed up when I called them on that day.
Yeah, well, but they were advertising the number, and this was before I realized how serious Damien, illness was getting. Um, and they would say, if you or someone you know is contemplating suicide, call us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never felt like I could call the line, and I told him about it, but was like, how many times it's like when he was over at my house or I was around him, and it's like, why didn't I dial the number? Guilt's another thing that
We
it's
tend to do
really,
that. Right. And
really
it's
bad. Yeah,
hard.
and that's the one thing I'm like, would that have helped? Maybe, maybe not.
That's the biggest thing that tries to stop us from progressing as humans.
Mm-hmm,
I blame myself for my brother passing away, and the doctors didn't do their job. That was what really happened. But
mm,
I blame myself because I kept trying to get them to do their job, and they did
yeah,
not. So I'm
yeah,
like, I could have did this. I could have did that.
yeah,
Maybe you could have. Maybe you
mm-hmm,
couldn't have. Like you don't know. And
yeah,
I'm telling you, Connie, you don't know what you could have done. It's not. It's not your. It's not your fault.
right,
You know?
right. And there's a lot of reconciliation you have to make, with
Yeah.
regret and guilt. And
You just have to fight
that
through.
was tough. That was tough to get through. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard. My husband, he always tells me it's not your fault, but it's your fight. So
Mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
sometimes those thoughts they will pop in there even after it could be 5 million years later. They still
mm-hmm,
come creeping from nowhere. And
mm-hmm.
it's like, nope, I choose to ignore you because and it's usually when you're doing something great.
Yeah, yeah.
Like like you're about to go headline and they're like, oh, remember when blah blah blah? Like, shut up.
Yeah, I was about to go on stage for improv, and
Hmm.
I checked my phone, which I need to just not do, when I'm getting ready to go on stage. But one of Damien's battle buddies, he sent me a picture, and he had gone through a walk in the Dallas area
Hmm.
and carried a backpack or a rucksack, I guess, and had Damien's name on the back of his backpack, and did some distance of walking, and I was so touched by that I was almost in tears, and then I was like, oh, wipe that off,
Now you
but.
gotta be funny.
Yeah, yeah. Now I gotta go make people laugh,
That
but yeah,
happens
it's
all the
it's
time.
uh it's just a reminder, people still,
Yeah.
think of my son, and that's important too, is to raise their names up, lift
Mhm.
them up. So yeah.
Gotta say their name, and it's a gift that you raised such a great son that people are like, he was this, and I want to honor him, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how it is with my brother Curtis. He was the best brother ever.
Mm-hmm.
He made sure
Mm-hmm.
I was straight. He was, even though he was like my kid, I was like his kid too. Because every time I did something irresponsible, he was right there. And when I first started comedy, he was pushing me, and I knew I was not funny in the beginning. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "No, you're gonna get there. You just got to keep going." And I'm
Yeah.
glad I did.
Yeah. Damien's battle buddy actually named one of his kids after him.
Oh,
And
wow.
that still chokes me up. But he keeps in touch once in a while, and and posts pictures about his son out there and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love it. Like Damien is living through his child. And
Hmm.
you, whenever you get on the stage, and anyone else who loves and honors him. And that's
Mhm.
what Curtis is doing. And it makes me feel good to even have been chosen to be a
Mhm.
sister of Curtis,
Yeah.
because it's not a lot of people in the world that are actually genuinely amazing people. And I mean, it's a lot of amazing people, but when you find that one that's like, this person is out of this world,
Yeah.
that's what Curtis was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm honored to be his sister, and I know Damien is honored to have you as his mama, because you always his mom, no matter what.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we got the last one, why men don't seek out help: clinician biases. I can't read, but clinician biases, stereotypes, and discomfort due to rigid assumptions regarding common male behaviors and responses. So sometimes, people, unfortunately, people, even though they may be professional, they may look at certain people and assume certain things about them. Just like
Mhm.
me as a black woman, I don't like going to the doctor. Back in the day, they did experiments on us. No painkiller, no nothing, because they assumed that black women can take pain. I cannot take pain. I don't want you to assume that I can take pain. And that's what happened with my brother. They assumed he can take pain. And
Mhm.
sometimes you get afraid that even though a person is a professional, that they're not going to do their job
Yeah.
and have their own
Yeah.
type.
Bias is a big thing, and the first I went to a therapist pretty soon after Damien died at the recommendation of a friend. He had a counselor he really liked, but
Mhm,
she lived, like 40 minutes away. So she recommended a lady that was closer to me, and it was a Christian counseling service. So I went in, and um, she always would start with a prayer, and I'm like, well, okay, here I'm, yeah,
mhm.
I just had all kinds of thoughts of any inappropriateness because I needed help, right?
Mhm.
And so she said a prayer, and then she said, well, you never closed your eyes during the prayer, and I'm like, that's what you're worried about? And how do you know that? Were your eyes open too?
Your eyes were open, you were looking at me.
I'm like, what? I don't, so that didn't last very long.
Yeah, because
And
at
that
the
was,
stage, you're supposed to be objective. And if a person wants a Christian counselor, I usually I go back and forth. Like, I like having a Christian counselor for the most part, but sometimes some counselors
mhm,
that are Christian, they
mhm,
don't talk about the tools that you need.
mhm,
They just, they and it's good because I believe everything that's in the Bible. They'll just go into the Bible, and that's wonderful. I know how to read the Bible. I
yeah,
need you to give me some tools that you learned at school to get me
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. And it's, y- and faith was kind of a weird thing for me,
Mhm.
after he died and stuff. And I was really angry at the army, was who I was really angry with. I never got mad at my son. I never got mad at God. I never, uh, none of that. But yeah, it's like I've been hurt very deep, and uh, I'm Christian, so I didn't mind going to her, but I certainly didn't need the church type things. Like there was before he died, I had this sense of the number 25, and
Mm.
it never hit me until after he died and he was 25 years old.
Oh,
And I mentioned that to her, and she's just like, oh, and then why'd you open your eyes during prayer? It was just so bizarre. So yeah, that
man.
finding help can be a barrier, because until this, until you sit down face to face with the therapist, you
Mhm,
don't know if you're going to click. You don't know, if the person has the right experience.
mhm,
Suicide is a real heavy thing, and it needs somebody who's
who's had some experience with that or training, on how to deal with that. But yeah, I think that's a big barrier, is that a man may decide, okay, I'm going to go to counseling, twist my arm, and then it's like, you know, oh well, it's a woman, so I'm not going
Mhm.
to go. Or it's a man, but look how old he is. Or, look at this guy, but he just got out of school. I mean, all of the, you start making reasons not to go. And I think that's, everybody suffers from that a little bit, but I think men tend to do that too. So,
Yeah, it's easy to find a reason not to go to, especially when there are therapists out there like the one that you went to.
mm,
Because
mm-hmm,
I had a therapist a long time ago, and she was decent. She was a decent therapist, but after a while, I started helping her with her problems. So
yeah.
I was like,
But
you
the
know,
pay didn't, you were still paying her though, right? She never paid
yeah.
you, right?
I'm like, you know what? No. So later on, when I needed therapy again, because I had graduated from therapy at that time, first I was concerned if I'm giving you help, I graduated.
Yeah,
So when I needed
yeah.
to find another therapist, I went to Better Help, and they were asking me what kind of therapist do I want. I put Christian, and I was racist against my own kind. I said I don't want a black woman therapist. Be a black guy. I don't want a black woman because I'm not about to counsel somebody, and I'm
Mm,
on the edge of falling off the cliff myself. I'm not doing it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And now my current therapist, she is black, and I realized, I know all black people aren't the same, but that lady got me so jacked up. I stayed away.
mm-hmm.
I can't do it. And Cindy,
Yeah.
she was my therapist for 5 years. She was a great therapist, and I hated when
Mm-hmm,
she had to retire. I think she quit because of me, but that
mm.
was a lot. But
Well, and people that haven't been to therapy, I don't think they understand how many chapters of your life can be opened.
mhm,
My son and I, my surviving son and I, actually went to counseling together
mhm,
for a couple of sessions, and he was telling a story about his dad, and when we were divorced and stuff, and I just sat there, and he finished, and I said, "So do you want to hear the other side of it?" And he looked at me like I had three heads, like he had never thought that there was another truth, because there's
mhm,
two sides, and then the truth is in the middle somewhere, right? So,
mhm.
and then he didn't go again, and it was because I'm pretty sure, because he got a chapter opened in his brain. I was like, whoa, that's,
This is a lot.
I went here to work on my relationship with my mom. What's dad sneaking in here for,
What is she
So
doing, man? I don't get it.
yeah, so it's very eye opening and stuff. But man, I'm just a believer. You got to get yourself some help once in a while.
You
So,
got to. And it can be very stressful sometimes, but once you
hmm,
graduate from therapy, you may end up going back, cause like I did, because I
hmm,
graduated from therapy twice. And
yeah. Friend
yeah,
of mine called it getting an oil change. She said, I'm about to go in and get another oil change, and I said, yeah, that's a good analogy, because, yeah, it is like, okay, I'm running low here, yeah,
mhm,
let's go get some new sensations going. So, yeah.
yeah, get it together. And then the last reason why men don't seek out help is because lack of men-centered services,
Hmm.
which I can see
Um,
it's hard to find regular centered services.
yeah, the thing I like about TAPS is, the program that they had that really helped me a lot was a peer mentor program.
Mm,
And you signed up, and they matched you with a, also a military loss survivor. I got matched up with Joan. She had lost her son to suicide. He was a Marine, um, and um, and uh, no, and, and um, and uh, she and I really worked, um, together well, and she validated what I was going through. They also have that program for men, and so they have peer mentors for men where you get matched up with a guy that, has the same relationship. So he might have been a parent, he might have been a brother, a battle buddy, whatever. And I think we need more of those, more support groups just in general for men as well.
Very important.
Hmm.
I just thank you for sharing your resources, telling us about TAPS. If
Hmm.
y'all want to look that up, look that up. She is located in Texas right now, right? Or are
I'm
you in?
in Oklahoma.
Oh, you
Oklahoma.
drive to Texas. Okay, yeah. If you're in Oklahoma, then you need to look up TAPS. Um,
Yes.
so
Well, they're a nationwide organization. So
okay, so they should
yeah,
be here.
taps.org, and they have a lot of resources that you can access without having identified as a military loss survivor. So
The name of
there's a lot of resources there. So yeah.
that's actually a tool for anxiety. You tap right here and you tap right
Oh
here and
yeah, yeah,
all that good stuff.
yeah,
Girl, I know it all, child.
yeah, yeah,
Know
yeah,
it all. But yeah,
yeah.
I feel like so if they are afraid to go check out, get some help, here's what we can do. We can lend a ear and listen to our men instead of talking so much. We can recognize effort with thoughtful affirmation and record and recognition, like make him know that you appreciate him. We collaborate to solve problems. So if you see a random man in the corner looking sad, then go talk to him. If you big enough to get away, just in case he crazy. If you small like us, then don't do it. But if you like burly, then go talk to them. See if they okay. Um,
Hmm.
and get more minds on the case. We don't have to do none of this alone. Like if you have a brother or contact his brother or somebody that can help him because men understand men language. Women, we don't understand women language. We understand men language, but we understand women language. That's why
Hmm.
when you hear Hoochie Mama come from nowhere, you be like, oh, I know this Jezebel spirit. And the man be like, what are you talking about? Oh, like, oh, I know.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
and if he's stubborn, find him some help. Here,
yeah, yeah.
go.
Yeah, and offer to go with him. I mean, there's all kinds of things, or talk to his friends to see
Mhm.
if they would go. I mean,
Kidnap him, knock him
it's
fast.
just important. It's important you get things nipped in the bud. Real when they start, and if you
Mhm,
extend it on, then when something traumatic happens to them at that point, then they've got that new trauma plus
mhm,
the old one that they're trying to deal with. And even just getting along in life, it's so crazy right now. So
mhm.
it's hard to be you
Normal.
know normal and informed. I find it really hard. I want to be informed, but boy, there's some days it's like no.
Yeah, I watch the news every other day. I can't watch it every day. I used to watch it.
Yeah,
I can't watch it every day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's too
yeah,
much going
yeah,
on.
yeah, there is.
So, but I just want to let you know, is Lee your last name or your middle name?
It's my stage name. So yeah,
Oh,
and it's it's
my
it's
middle name
my
is Lee. That's why I asked.
yeah, it's a middle name as well.
It's
So
my
yeah.
middle name. Okay, we are middle name twins.
And we are, yes. I'm finding it's pretty popular. It was from my mother, and then
Mine
I
was
passed
from
it.
my grandmother. I think my great grandfather before I was born or something. I think his name was
Yeah,
Lee. And my
and I
husband.
passed it on to my son, and then my grandson. Two grandsons have it as a middle name. So yeah,
Oh, we making it popular. Lee is coming in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And my husband, his middle name is Lee too. He
Oh, okay.
dad. So Lee is popping.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and it's spelled the right way, right? Lee. None
yep.
of this Lei. And
Extra crap. Right. What are
yeah.
we doing? Lee.
Why do you want to make things hard? It's
Right.
three
Life is
letters.
already hard. Like, what do we need to make our middle names hard for?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Sling Gang Gang. Hey. People usually think I'm Chinese or Japanese when they find out I am black. Yes, I'm so happy that you came on this show. Do you have
Well,
any? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
thank you for having me. I
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
And do you have any shows coming up or anything that you want everyone to know that they gotta know?
I have a show coming up on June 20th. It's in Marlow, Oklahoma, for anybody that's in the area. And then on June 27th, I'm going to be in a show. I'm actually heading out for vacation pretty soon, and I'm really looking forward to that. So, you know, try to write some jokes. I'm going with my two youngest grandkids, and so I'm sure there will be a lot of material that will, that will
Yes. Where are you
come
going?
about from that. We're going to Hawaii, to the Big Island. So
Oh, can I fit in your bag?
I know. Come on along. It's gonna be fun. So yeah.
I always want to go to Hawaii. Oh my gosh. If I wasn't on my period, I would come. Oh, please, man.
Okay, TMI. Okay.
It is. That's the comedian in me.
Yeah.
You'll get a comedian in me in about a week. My husband, he's a comedian. But yeah, Connie, I'm so glad that you came, that you joined us. I'm so glad that you became my special guest. And I thank you so much for this interview. This is a beautiful podcast, and I pray only the best for you. And I hope you have a blessed, wonderful Monday and fun time in Hawaii.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yay. Yay, that was such a good show. Everybody like, can y'all please? This is what my show is. It's love and laugh. So we talk about all of the trauma and we talk about all the funny. My husband, he wants me to end it with Grief is Ghetto, but it's hot. It is hot in this room. So I'm just gonna end it with a little bit of a set that I did at the Detroit Women Comedy Fest. And yeah, so I plan on doing that. Also, if you are dealing with any kind of suicide ideation or anyone who you know who is dealing with suicide ideation, oh, this TikTok is annoying. Stay right there. Why is it doing that? It want me to put this in a puzzle. I feel like a slow kid. Okay, there it is. Yeah, if you are dealing with suicidal ideation or if you know anybody who's dealing with it, then call the number 988 to get some help. I literally called the number. They were very helpful to me. As you can see, I'm still here. So I want you to still be here. We all got to die one day anyway. You don't need to make it quicker. Yeah, so here goes this clip. And I hope you have a very blessed week and Monday. Yes, I was in the cave like day 1, day 2, crossed it out. Didn't think I was gonna make it. I was sick for 13 days. Yes, I was in the cave like day 1, day 2, crossed it out. Me and my husband, we were sick for 13 days, and that will test your marriage. We still alive. Look at God. We didn't kill each other. Yeah. Man, that first day, I was like, okay, what is this? I don't know. And then I started watching the news, and they're like, here on the news, there's a new virus called the virus. Don't watch the news when you're sick. You start thinking like, oh Lord, I hope I ain't got no tattoo virus, you know. I ain't even got no tattoos, you know. It's against my religion. I never had a henna before in my life. My hands are gone. There's not enough places to write, right? I said, oh my God, I don't want the henna virus. Lord Jesus. Yeah, I was praying. I said, Lord, please don't let me have the henna virus. Lord, let me have COVID. Let me get the COVID. Yeah, I know what to do with COVID. I had COVID 3 times. Yeah, better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, right?
You don't know what to do. Come and take a seat, my friend. Kick it with Dani Luv. Kick it with Dani Luv. Kick it with Dani Luv. Healing one.